Hello everyone and welcome to our first Opus 6 spoilers discussion. Now like I told you when I mentioned the Opus 6 spoilers, I wanted to wait a little bit before we got our hands on a couple of them so we could talk about them like I did last time for the Opus 5 stuff. So pretty much there really is a lot of stuff and a lot of mechanics, a lot of new mechanics that are being introduced in the game. We don't know too much about all the mechanics and the rulings and stuff, or like stuff, things of that matter, but I will talk about them briefly, give you guys an idea about them. And this time we're going to start off with fire. So here we have Garland. I'll read them for you guys and then I'll give you guys some, a little background on them and stuff like that. If you control a job princess, the job knight forwards you control gain brave. Everyone's he's kind of been a meme now because of his S ability Blaze, but choose one forward for it's an S, so you have to pitch a copy of Garland and one fire CP deals choose a forward, deal it 7,000 damage. That's okay. Round edge is S and 3 CP, 2 fire, 1 colorless. Choose a forward, break it, deal 5,000 damage to all forwards your opponent controls. That's pretty good. I like that one. It just breaks a forward regardless of CP value or anything like that, and then it just deals extra burn damage across the board. Again, the problem with these Garlands is that they're a little too expensive for me and for I'm sure everyone. Fire has a lot of those problems, but going to its main ability, if you control a job princess. Now it says job princess. It doesn't say forward or backup, so you can have any character with any character that's a princess. So we do have a couple backups. Sarah Mobius, the one that gets you back a Warrior of Light from the break zone, and then Clady from 11. That also goes in hand with Garland here. It says choose a job prince forward or a job knight forward to activate it, which is cool. It'll help out, but if they have Brave, you might not need this so much. But you also have Ovelia too, which is a princess that lets you buff your knights. So more than likely it'll probably go. I'm thinking you have two options here when you're building this deck. You could do fire earth, so you can make Delita your knight and he has Brave, or fire water and you have your knights, your Steiner and your Beatrix, and you'll have Ovelia, but you'll also have access to Garnet, Lena, and Ash, of course. So because they're all princesses, those are all the job princesses that exist at the moment. So there's a lot that can go on here. I don't see there being any balance between the Lightning Knights deck. I wouldn't suggest a tricolored, fire, water, lightning thing, but so far it seems, I like its effect, to keep things brave, but again, water has that option to activate stuff on its own, so I don't know how much play it'll use, but we're moving on now. The next one I wanted to talk about is Guy. So Guy is going to be the Opus 6 pre-release. What is it called? Opus 6 pre-release promo, I guess. It's going to be hollowed out with the golden borders and stuff like that, which is going to be cool. And Category 2, they come from Final Fantasy 2, and it looks like the Category 2 is going to be like the main category from this set. So I guess I've realized that each set has its own category and its own job class that it likes to expand on. Like that they have more support for than like the rest of the set, because you will get stuff from most categories and some other job classes throughout sets, but I feel like every new set releases one stronger archetype or whatever, and that's like, for example, the last set was Warrior of Lights and 11, so that's a job class and a category, you understand? So in this case it seems to me that the category will be Final Fantasy 2. So Guy, job class Rebel, which is very important, and I guess they're kind of expanding on Rebels too. So it looks like they get most of all the cards for themselves. But for each Category 2 character other than Guy you control, Guy gains 1,000 power. That's pretty cool. And then when Guy is put from the field to the break zone, activate all forwards you control. So he's kind of like the opposite of a Renoa and like a Porom, the water Porom, but like on death when he goes to the break zone. But the fact that he has Brave and he has 1,000 power for every character, again, it could be forward, backup, or even monster, because remember, monsters are characters, guys. So there is a lot more Rebels that we will cover in just a bit, or as we go through, but some of the ones that we have already are the Emperor, both Ice and the Dark one. Even the monster, the Lightning Black Knight, is Category 2. And then, of course, we have Maria, Guy, Minwoo, Firion, and I guess Layla and Ricard. There's a bunch of cards. There's a bunch of rebels. And I'm sure, and again, we're going to go over a couple more, but there's a lot of stuff that this card will go good with. So you can expect it to be at least at 8K, or maybe even 9 with a banner or something like that. So 9K Brave that activates all your forwards when he attacks, when he goes to the break zone is pretty cool. So pretty much you could leave him active. Well, he'll stay active because he attacks, but then you would always attack with him last, I guess. That way, everyone else will attack, and if they do decide to block him, he'll go to the break zone and activate all your forwards. Whereas when you were playing Renoa, you would attack with her first and try to get him to do all his boards so the rest of your forwards can attack. So it's a really good card. I think this card is going to be very playable if the Rebel deck or the Category 2 deck gets enough support. But I'm sure it will in this set. Next is going to be Kyros, which I'm super excited for. I know my brother and I are really happy that 8's finally getting more support. So 2 CP Kyros. When Kyros enters the field, choose a forward you control other than Kyros. It gains 2,000 power until the end of the turn. If it is Category 8 forward, it also gains haste, first strike, and brave until the end of the turn. So he's pretty splashable, I guess, in any kind of fire deck, but giving an 8 forward is probably going to be a lot of fun. You can give it to like the Zell or the Ward. When they attack, they get buffs, so you can choose someone who can't block, or even a Renoa. If you're playing a Fire Ice, I think Fire Ice is probably going to be one of the better ideas for this. And giving Renoa, for example, haste, first strike, and brave, they're not going to block her anyway. So keeping her alive for 2 turns, keeping her active, I guess, for another turn while she can steal in points of damage. Because let's say they do block her, right? And they do have someone stronger than her, than 9K, because she'll be at 9K after this effect. She's going to go into the break zone and then do all your opponent's forwards, and then you can just attack. And if you're playing like a weird, Guy Renoa, 8 kind of weird rebel deck, you can always have them active, also leave. I don't know, man. There's a lot of things there. But it'll also help with the Squalls and even the Squall, because a lot of the Squall and Laguna cards are very strong, but giving them first strike and brave just makes them that much better. So I definitely feel like there's going to be, this card alone probably helps the deck a lot more, like an 8. Even in a title series, it'll definitely help the 8 the Category 8 decks. So I really hope to see a lot of those. That is my favorite game, guys. And we'll move on, though. So we have 8 support, we have 2 support, and then now we have a summon. Now, I'm not going to, I don't know. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of opinions on these. I don't know how much play it'll see, but I'll read it for you. You can only cast Neil Bahamut during your main phase. Choose one forward, deal it 8,000 damage, discard all your hand. Now, I don't know if Fire's going to adopt the play style that some of us are familiar with in other card games like Hearthstone and stuff like that, where Warlock, you have to discard your hand to play stuff. But if it does have something like that, then sure, I'll get behind it. Those decks can be interesting, and hand control is a very good thing. So this might be also like an anti-ice thing. So you're gonna get rid of your last card anyway, but you can't do it on your turn, right? It has to be during your main phase. So that kind of goes out the window. But again, unless Fire is adopting some kind of like strategy like that, where it involves you to discard your hand, or you get a benefit from discarding your hand, I don't see this that usable. Unless you're teching 1 and you're planning on playing the aggro version Fire and Ice, and you expect to be handless for the most part, then yeah, sure, this is cool. But other than that, I will move on from it. And see, this is another card I was talking about, Dark Lord. When Dark Lord enters the field, remove the top 10 cards of your deck from the game. At the beginning of your attack phase, choose up to 1 forward, deal it 3,000. Now, the first effect, remove 10 cards from your deck. Yeah, that's not going to happen, again, unless they have like a strategy based around removing cards, or even a way to get back cards from the removed from play area, like Yu-Gi-Oh did, or they do in the DC deck building game. There's a lot of things that I would expect them to come out with, a lot of mechanics, I guess, that I would expect them to come out with in order for cards like this to be playable. And the fact that he only deals 3,000 to 1 forward is just, it's not good enough. Like, if he dealt maybe 6 or 7K to a forward, then yeah, sure, this guy is ridiculous. I'll mill 10 off the top just to try to swing and pop 7Ks at once, but at any point when you're only dealing 3K, it's just not worth it. It's just, I don't see. It is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, so we are seeing more Crystal Chronicle cards. And yeah, that's it. That's it for Fire. That wraps up Fire. I do want you guys to, I'll leave a comment below. Let me know which color of these you're interested in the most, and which cards like spoke to you as a fan of the game. Before as we go. Next, we're gonna cover the wind cards. I like that wind is getting some okay. So we were talking about rebels, and now we're also gonna expand a little bit more on another job class, which we kind of mentioned in one of the podcasts, the Gull Wings, and now we have a new Pain. So Pain here says the job Gull Wings forward you control cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons, which is great. Assault S and 1 wind, all the job Gull Wings you control gain haste until the end of the turn. That's pretty good. It's a little more expensive than Ilua, which we all love. It's just 1 CP more, but it's a good card. It's pretty neutral, I guess. It doesn't have the fact that they can't be chosen by summons is very strong. And if they're playing maybe the Aerith backup, like most wind decks might, you can't be targeted by anything, or even the Elementalist, the 2-cost forward. So just keeping, I guess the concept is going to be behind this deck might be a little protective, because we do have more Gull Wings. We do have the Riku, which you guys might remember from the starter deck. If this one says your Gull Wings can't be chosen by summons, then you would need, then this Pain, and then this Riku, 4 costs, she'll be at 8K, and then she can't be chosen by abilities. So 2 8Ks that can't be, 1 8K that can't be chosen by either summons or abilities, and then her, that can be chosen by summons. So that's going to be very strong. They're pretty much untargetable, so you're going to have to swing over them. And that's going to be very annoying to deal with. I don't know if you guys play it a lot against a lot of wind. Excuse me, but the kind of Senna deck where you can't target it and stuff like that, or even Daraluma, where you don't want to target it because you get hit for it, is going to be an annoying thing to deal with. So blanket effects are going to be important. So it's a good card. I like it. I like that Gull Wings are going to get a little more. And again, I'll talk about the Yuna a little bit later when I hit water. But again, we discussed it in the podcast, so we know there's at least 2 more Gull Wings coming out. And let's move on to Maria. So we already have Maria the backup, but here's another Rebel, Category 2. She's got a lot of effects. She's a forward, 5K. You tap her, choose 1 category forward other than Maria. It gains 2,000 power until the end of the turn. That's okay. Tap to deal 1,000 to all forwards your opponent controls. That's okay. And then for 1 wind, and to tap her again, choose a forward. During this turn, the next damage dealt to it is reduced by 3,000, which is pretty cool, actually. I like that wind can take some of that from water, because water's, I think, one of the few ones that has the damage reduction like that. Because we have, I think it was Rosa that searches a Cecil and does that too. But that's cool. This is a very neutral card. So other than the Rebel part, a wind, it says choose any forward to reduce the damage by 3,000 instead, which is cool if you're playing Water Wind, which I might suspect. I don't know how many more wind Water Rebels we'll get, but you can reduce the damage enough so Minwoo protects it altogether from all damage, and that's going to be very strong. I love the art on these cards, by the way, guys. I forgot to mention it when we were watching, I showed you Guy. But again, if you look at the bottom, it says character illustration. Whenever it says that, this is new art that we're getting for this game, and there's a lot of that in this one, in Opus 6. A lot of the creators from other games, or even the original. I think some of them might be the original artists. I can't remember, and I don't want to say anything, but they're great. This art honestly reminds me of the Street Fighter 4 art with the black paint, but it's great. Moving on to Leon. Now, I did mention new mechanics again, and we did talk about it in our podcast, which, by the way, if you guys haven't had a chance to listen to, make sure to check them out. We do, the group over here, we do have guests, and we do talk a lot about the game and some of the important things to look forward to. And one of the things we mentioned is take control of a forward, or take control of a character effect that Square announced there will be a new mechanic for this set and going forward. And Leon is a 1 CP 8 drop, but when Leon enters the field, your opponent gains control of Leon. Now, the second part of it is when a Category 2 character of your opponent enters the field, your opponent gains control of Leon. So it is your card, and so you have to give it away. But when it's their card, it reads when a character card your opponent controls, meaning you. I know it's confusing if you think about it, but so pretty much I wouldn't drop him turn 1, obviously, but unless you had a backup, like a rebel backup, unless you dropped him and Maria, you know, you could have 2 forwards, an 8K and whatchamacallit. But then see, there's a lot of this. He's going to be going back and forth, so it's going to be interesting, especially in the mirror match. I don't know how much play he's going to get, because even if the rebel deck is strong, the mirror match is going to be difficult if you're playing this card, because yeah, you'll get it back for 1 turn and then you can attack, but then your opponent will get it back, and then I guess giving it to them when it's dull makes sense, but then it'll activate on their activation phase, so I don't think so. So the mechanic itself of taking control of a forward or a monster or a character in any case is going to be really complicated to deal with. I'm hoping we get an idea of some of the rules in terms of will they activate and will they be able to use their abilities shortly after they're deployed. But this is, I guess every color is going to get a little bit of this. Just to give you later, we'll talk about it. I know Lightning gets one and Water has something like that too. But I do hope that it's more than just, you know, taking control, switching back and forth, because honestly, I don't like that. I like that. If it was like a one-time thing, then sure. But if it's just gonna keep going back and forth, I hate that. I hate it. Like in Yu-Gi-Oh, we talk about change of heart and how it, you know, take our cards and pretty much win the game or make us lose forwards and stuff like that. Our monsters, and yeah, this is not gonna be fun. I think maybe 1 Leon to be safe, but. Don't play it if you're fighting the mirror match. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're fighting the mirror match, just use him to pitch for other stuff. But yeah, so Rebel decks will probably be viable, guys. Keep that in mind. So let's move on. So here we have the ice cards. The first one here is going to be a 5-cost backup, Kazusa. Typo, Researcher. When Kazusa enters the field, choose a dull forward, deal it 10,000 damage. That is going to be very nice. I might tech one of these. This might be another one of tech, like I do when I play the Canyoneer. But and then for 1 CP, 1 colorless, put Kazusa in the break zone, choose up to 2 forwards, dull them. Okay, that's cool. That's well, putting it into the break zone doesn't, unless you're playing multiples of these. I don't know if you'd want to do that. Well, this is definitely cool. 10,000 damage. There's only a few things that deal that much. But that's really strong. I like that. Moving on, we have Kurosame. So this is the second Kurosame. I guess that the other one was the second Kazusa we got too. But EX Burst, when Kurosame enters the field, you may search for 1 card named Amina and 1 card named Kazusa and add it to your hand. Ice forwards other than Kurosame you control gain 1,000 power. So he's a banner, so he's a 5k 7. 5 drop 7k. A little underpowered, but I guess this is a banner because it's a forward banner. He's expensive, but because Ice didn't get like a Warrior of Light, I guess this will probably be like what people might use to make up for that. But the Amina backup that we have already. Okay, so it says search for a card name Amina, a card name Kazusa. We do have. I just showed you Kazusa, and there is another one that says when Kazusa enters the field, each player discards a card from his or her hand. And then you can put Kazusa into the break zone. Each player discards a card from his hand, which is okay, 2 cost. And then Amina, the cost required to play Kazusa or card named Kurosame on the field is reduced by 1. So they might have some. You can search one, and then the other one will be cheaper. So you know the other Kazusa will be the one that just deals 10k to something. Will be 4 cost instead of 5 cost. So that's cool. And then this guy will buff. All your ice forwards, so I don't know. This type O ice thing might be cool. We're familiar with Sid Alstein and White Tiger LCs and stuff like that, so we might get more type O's. I'm pretty sure there'll be another Amina as well, but the fact that it's ES Burst and a banner is fun, is good. It's different, but it's definitely good. Moving on, we'll go to Kuja, another EX Burst, another 5 cost. There's a lot of expensive cards for Ice that they showed us so far, but I guess Ice needs more expensive cards. When Kuja enters the field, choose a forward or monster your opponent controls, dull it and freeze it, which is very nice. dulling and freezing monsters is going to be very useful. I feel like monsters is moving into a strong point in their like career, if you will. But put 2 ice backups into the break zone. Return Kuja to your hand. You can only use this ability during your main phase and if Kuja is in the break zone. Okay, so we did have this is the second card I guess that we see that can bring itself back sort of from the break zone, which is nice. And I guess now that we think about it, there is those 2 cards. The other card was a fire card. I want to say I don't know, remember his name, but he could revive himself from the grave. And if Kuja could bring him back self, then maybe that Dark Lord has some playability. See, if there's more cards like this that let themselves bring themselves back, then sure, I can see that. But putting 2 ice backups into the break zone, whew, that's a little costly. But I think this will be like Deleto, where you can activate them. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check for you guys. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to return to after you've used them up and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's okay. It's a pretty good card. I don't think I'd play more than one of it. Just so because it can keep coming back, and it is an expensive card. So, and another 5 cost. Sorry for the picture quality, guys. Most of these are some of these are screen caps, and this just came out the other day. So I wanted to get this to you before more cards came out. It is a summon, Hades, 5 cost again. Choose a duel forward, break it. The owner of this forward discards 1 card from his or her hand. That's pretty good. It's a little expensive, but it's pretty good. There's another Hades card already that exists that I think it bounces. It destroys a forward, bounces a backup, and then makes your opponent discard a card too, I think. So I don't know comparatively if I like this one better or not. But they're both good. I think they're both 5 cost. And yeah, Hades, choose a forward and 1 backup your opponent controls. I'll duel the forward and return the backup. So this one's better actually. And then your opponent discards a card from his hand. So yeah, I like this one better. But again, they're both 5 costs, and they're not EX burst or anything like that. So because imagine this on an EX burst would be ridiculous. So it's definitely it would be overpowered. And Ice doesn't need more expensive overpowered cards. So let's move on. Next will be the lightning cards. And we have Dragoons. I know there's a lot of Dragoon fans out there, so this is going to be cool. Kane. When a dark forward of your opponent enters the field, your opponent gains control of Kane. Again, well, this is a cheap. It's a 3 cost 9K. So when they're this cheap, they have to have drawbacks, and that's one of them. When a dark forward you control is put from the field into the break zone, your opponent gains control of Kane. So I guess there's that's weird. I guess he just jumps back and forth whenever dark card comes onto the other side of the field. Let me read it again. When a dark forward of your opponent enters the field, your opponent gains control of Kane. Okay. And when a dark forward you control is put from the when it's put from the field into the break zone, your opponent gains control. Got it. Never mind. So it's not the same thing twice. I guess I read it wrong, but so yeah, again, he is going to be going back and forth. You're obviously going to want to keep dark cards in your deck. So if your opponent does take it when they summon, I don't know, Camlin out or Emperor or even Chaos or anything like that, you'll be able to get it back. Or you could just kill their dark card somehow to get your guy back. It seems cool. I like it. It's cheap is I guess the important part. He doesn't have haste for Strike or Brave or anything like that, so it's not that great. But remember, just this is the thing I was talking about. Like, I don't want more of this. I don't want more coming and going stuff because it's gonna be. I guess it'll be complicated because if you take a duel, can you activate it in attack, or if you take it before they end their turn, will you activate on your turn? There's so many things. It's really going to change the game a lot. But whatever. I'm waiting for it. I'm excited. This card might be good to draft with. Like, if you guys do, like, pre-release stuff, I don't think there's going to be... The odds that your opponent will summon a dark card in a draft are slim. But getting rid of it won't be a problem either. So I think if you have this guy in numbers, I would definitely take it into a draft deck, which I might do. Because at Gen Con, I'm doing both the draft and the structured. So, yeah, I'm going to keep that in mind. Next, we have another monster, Colossus 4 cost. You can have multiples of this. For 0 CP, until the end of the turn, Colossus also becomes a forward with 7k. And when Colossus attacks, deal 1000 damage to all forwards your opponent controls. You can only use this ability once per turn. Okay. So I guess CP over time, which is a term I'm gonna have to, take credit for, I think. Because we have DOT, damage over time, but this is COT, CP over time, or crystal points over time. Like, for 4 it's fine, but then, you don't have to pay to keep activating it, like some of the other monsters. Like Dragon, for example, the Water Dragon is just, it costs 2, but you gotta pay 1 every turn to get it out. And so, I guess CP over time is good, but, I don't know, it's a 4 cost 7k, it's not that great. But maybe it's because it's type O, you can search it, or it is a Magitech armor, which is cool. I don't know. I'm not big on this one, but hey, it's a common. It's another monster. I'm sure someone will find use for it. And again, more Dragoon support. Again, sorry for the blurry images, guys. These are screenshots that we got yesterday. We got the other day, but you can only Estinian for those who play 14, and I know Andy's gonna love this because he finally came out. So you can only pay with CP produced by lightning backups to play Estinian from your hand onto the field. Okay, so you can't pitch a card to this, so he can't be played any earlier than having 3 backups, from what I understand. I don't know if maybe your needs an errata. Like, so it can be like the Emperor's Hand, where it can only play with fire CP, but this says, it specifically says CP produced by lightning backups. So from what I understand, you can't pitch a card to do it. So, but it does have haste and first strike for 3. I guess that's not bad. If one of your backups is Lulu, it's an 8k haste and first strike. It's a Dragoon, more Dragoons support, so that's cool. I feel like he should have had a banner effect or something like, but whatever. I like it. Hope you guys like it. And the one I'm excited about again is more 8 support. It's a 3 cost lightning Cypher EX Burst seed candidate. When Cypher enters the field, you may search for 1 job witch and add it to your hand. And just to go over some of the witches with you, we only have 2. But we do have both Adeyas, the backup, which forwards of cost 5 or more cannot block, and then the Lightning Adeya, which everyone plays, that breaks forwards based on your number of lightning backups. But we also have Ultimecia, and searching Ultimecia might be cool. All forwards other than Ultimecia enter the field dull. So maybe just this opens up to a Water Lightning 8 deck, which would be cool. With Adeya as the backup, so you can search either the backup or search Ultimecia, either way. But that's fun. I guess if you duel everyone and you have water to activate them with Astrologian or Clady, like we mentioned earlier, maybe the Knight's deck. He's not a Knight, but he does search the witches. I don't know. There's a lot of things there. A couple of deck ideas to think about. But it's cool. Again, I'm just really happy that 8's getting more support, especially in different colors. So that's cool. Plus the art is just adorable. All right. So the Earth cards are next, and we have a lot. We have 5 to go over, but when the first one here is Moogles. Reads, it's a backup, 3 cost backup, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. When Moogle Brothers enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 job Moogle among them to your hand and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. That's good. It's a reveal 5 card, like Realm or stuff like that. And put Moogle, to tap it, you put Moogle Brothers into the break zone. Play 1 job Moogle of cost 2 or less from your hand onto the field. So I guess this will reveal other ones, and then you can switch it out for another Moogle. There's a few 2 costs. You can do it for Artemisian, which might be cool. For Moogle, the theater one. Other 2 cost ones that are important, maybe Gertie or No-No, the other No-No. But the important ones are 3 costs, like the Mog that searches a 13 or Mog 6. But I don't know how much the second part might be useful, but definitely the first one is going to be nice to, search out other cards. And it is not, you can't have multiples of this, but if two in a deck will be good. Between this and the Sarah Earth Ice Moogles or Earth Ice colored Moogles will be a good deck. So you can Sarah into this to get another one, and then blah blah blah. You know, all the Moogles. It's good. Moogle decks will probably be a thing. It's just depending on what colors you want to use, because there's one for every color so far. Yeah, there's definitely one for every color so far. So there's a lot of potential there. Next is another backup. I don't remember ever seeing Cat Sith in 14, but maybe I didn't make it that far. For 2 Earth CP, to tap and put into the break zone. Choose one summon. It's funny. Choose one summon, choosing a forward you control. Cancel its effect. I don't know. There's better cards than this that negates the summon or the cancel summon's effect. This seems a little expensive, but who knows? Maybe you want more protection, especially for things that choose as opposed to blanket effects or something like that. I don't know. Maybe there's a card that we're gonna worry about. But yeah, just another 2 cost that negates a choosing summon. And then a really strong card here is Tola. It looks like Scions are going to get a little more support, which is good. I'm nice. 14 altogether has got more cards, like I mentioned. It's good that every set or every category is going to get a couple things. But Tola cannot be broken by opposing summons or abilities that don't deal damage. Which is a little different from the Lashes Tola, because the Lashes Tola read that she doesn't take damage from abilities, which is cool. So they had to open her up a little bit. And if you control 3 or more jobs Scions of the 7th on, other than Y'shtola, Y'shtola gains Brave, which is also very good. 8k with Brave, Earth, and then when Y'shtola attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls. If you control 5 or more jobs Scion of the 7th on, other than Y'shtola, deal it 8,000 damage. That's very good. See, this is what I was talking about earlier with the Dark Lord. This is less CP with less drawbacks, and if you meet a requirement, you can deal 8,000 damage when you attack. I feel that's an ability that Fire should get, but it doesn't. But anyway, so there's 2 ways to get this. If you do playing Lightning, Earth Scions, you will have 5 Scions, no problem. You can always hush them all or whatever to change everyone's job class. And if you did tech Barts or whatever in any Wind, Earth, whatever Scion deck, he will have the job. So getting the 5 jobs isn't going to be the problem, honestly, because at least 4 of the backups that Scions get are, there are 4 backups that Scions of the 7th jobs have. Yeah, and it doesn't specify forwards or backups, so it says Scions of the 7th on, other than Y'shtola. So it's very open. It doesn't even say characters. It just says others. So as long as it has it, you deal 8,000, and that's an amazing effect. You can swing, break one, and then get rid of another one, like if they block. So that's 2 for 1, ideally. And then if you have Minfilia too, once this resolves, you can use Minfilia, which says if you have 5 or more, also you can use this to break. I think it's a dual forward. I can't remember. I'll look it up right now. But it's just. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. Yeah, put Minfilia in the break zone. Choose a forward your opponent controls. Break it. You can only use this. Yeah, it's just break it. It doesn't matter. But it is the same stipulation if you control 5 or more job Scions of the 7th on. So again, this deck is going to have that the ability to break your forwards out of, just because they control the numbers. But remember, if you do respond when this happens, this is on resolution. So if they do not meet the requirements, well, at least it's Tola anyway. Minfilia is different because on resolution she's already gone. But if they don't have it, they won't deal the 8,000 damage. So, but still, it's a very good card, very strong card. It's not even a legendary; it is a hero. I feel like I failed to mention that on some of the other cards. The Kuja. I think the Kuja was a legendary. I don't know, but yeah. It's a really great card. It's on curve. It's got a lot of effects. I don't see a downside here to it. And at worst case scenario, it is an 8,000 that can't be broken by your opposing summons or abilities that don't deal damage. So that's great. That's a really strong card. And then next is Ajido, Marujido. I don't know. I'm using my Spanish to try to pronounce that name, but it could be Ajido, Marujido. I don't know. It's a 5-cost backup. When Ajido enters the field, select one of the 2 following actions. Cast a summon from your hand without paying the cost, which is insane. And then choose up to 2 summons in your break zone and add them to your hand. So pretty much activate and then do like Raiden or Bahamut or Phoenix or any of those big cost summons. And I'm sure we'll get some big cost summons in this set too. But that's pretty fun. That's pretty easy. And let's say you didn't have that, you can just get 2 back into your hand. And then I kind of want to see. I want to see this with in the Earth Wind deck with Miyun, so you can put it back into your hand, draw a card, drop it again, and then cast the summons you searched the previous turn. And then there's just, oh, that's dangerous. And then what's I guess my favorite part about this card is that they don't have any requirements or any stipulations on the summons. It's just any summon, both get the 2 any summons back from your grave, and any summon cast any summon without paying cost. So it's a really strong effect. It's another 5. It's another expensive backup, but this effect is just worth it. So I feel like Earth is gonna get a lot more help, dealing with stuff. You might have to teching the cards, I guess, teching the multicolor summons. Like I don't know. I want to build a Fire Earth deck, but having the Bahamut's or the Phoenixes in there is gonna be a little annoying. And then also, excuse me. Also, the lightning, Earth Lightning seems more plausible with the Scions that we just talked about. But playing the Raiden when you play Ahito here is going to be great. And even in a Paradise deck too, you just cast Raiden, remove 2 cards, and then you have less things to deal with when you Paradise. Yeah, this is going to be a good card. It's a hero, so it's not even that rare to get. It's going to be great. And then let's move on a little bit to Leo, another Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. And this card I feel like is going to change monsters a lot, monster decks. For each character other than Leo you control, Leo gains 1000 power. Again, character, forwards, backups for monsters, and then backups you control can produce CP of any element. So Kimahri is officially a useless card. The Kimahri backup anyway. But so you can play this and all the monsters you want, I think, because as long as you have him out and he stays alive. Obviously, he's going to be a little weak at the beginning. Let's say you do drop him turn 3 and you have turn 2 backups. He's only going to be at 3k, so it's going to be hard to keep him alive, I guess. But he's cheap enough where you can play multiples and not worry about it. But once you have him and you have all the monsters you want to play out, the other CP, some of the monsters don't require any other CPs, but Earth also plays Shantoto, so creating the other CP colors isn't going to be that much of a problem. So I feel like that Water Earth monster deck is going to come back. I do see this helping that a lot. So that's going to be cool. This is a great card. I love it. This is a legendary though, and it looks like a legendary card. There's a lot of art on it. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be very playable. This is going to help monsters out a lot. So expect to see this one, guys. Now, I did save the best for last. I'm only saying that because I'm probably going to stick to water. I realize I'm just a water player overall, and that's not going to change no matter how much I wanted to. I'll play all the other colors and I'll do stuff, but I just feel like water has the strongest cards, and I'm always going to think that. Even though with ice and they're discarding right now, I just feel like water has better cards. Anyway, all right, so let's get into water here. We already talked about Yuna, but I'll go over it again for those who didn't listen to the podcast. When Yuna enters the field, play 1 job going forward from your hand onto the field, or search for 1 job going forward other than the card name Yuna and add it to your hand. So it does say forward again, so we can add this pain, the pain we talked about earlier in Wind, or we can drop the old pain, which if you control Yuna already lets you draw another card. So there's a lot of value in playing this turn 1 if you open the pain. So you'll pitch 3 to drop her, to summon the other pain to draw a card. So you have two bodies with I think 2 cards left in hand. But it's still really good. Or you can just search another the pain or the Riku, or even no, it would have to be the pain or Riku. Those are the only ones, because Brother is a backup. But if you guys remember, Goings have a searcher already. When Brother enters the field, you may search for 1 category 10 forward and add it to your hand. So that one just generalizes category 10s. It doesn't specify Goings. She does. But that's really good. I like it a lot. It's a really great card. And then for 1 CP, 1 colorless, remove 3 summons in the break zone from the game. Choose 1 job going forward. activate it, it gains 1,000 power until the end of the turn. I don't see that happening a lot, but it is going to be an effect that's overlooked and might win you the game someday. But you will remember it when you need it. So it's a good card. It's a really strong card. It is the legendary. It is a water legendary. But it is good. I like it. It's going to see a lot of play. Going back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video, I feel like Gold Wings are going to be the other job class that got a lot of that's going to get support in the set, which is cool. And then I guess category, there's 10 stuff coming in there. So 10 and 2, get it? 10-2. But no, I guess 10 and 2 and Rebel. There's going to be a lot of the things that come out in this set, which is going to be cool. Even though we've gotten 8 and 11 and 14 and stuff like that. Like this next one, Emmerich, I think that's how you say his name. From 14, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights. Emmerich doesn't receive damage that is less than his power, which is amazing. He's got a built-in Minwu. He's a forward. When Emmerich attacks, all the forwards other than Emmerich you control gain 2,000 power until the end of the turn. That is a great card. He's a hero. He is expensive, but he's worth it. He's on curve. 5 CP for 9. He cannot take damage that's less than his own, and he buffs all the forwards other than Emmerich, other than himself, until the end of the turn. So with the banner with Walk on the board, he's 10, and with Refia, he's at 11. He buffs everyone else plus 2k. And then if you have Garnet, I don't know, you cast something, gives everyone another 1,000. Water just has that now. It just, and then let's say Titus is out, he buffs himself for him, and it's just like there's a lot of effects that Water has. They're banners, I guess, and they just have ways of helping each other out. If you do this one with the other Titus that attacks and also buffs everyone, imagine that's 3k to every forward you're attacking with. If there was a way we can give them all Brave, that'd be great, but that's not going to happen. But I love this card. It's a great card. I guess I might be biased to all these water cards, but I did save them for last. You might agree with me that some of these are really great. Like this next one, Shuyu. When Shuyu enters the field, choose a forward with power inferior to Shuyun's. You gain control of this forward until the end of the turn. So if it comes out and you have Refia and Waka, it's at 9k, so you can take anything 8k or less. You can also power this up somehow when it targets, so you can get something higher. Like let's say you buff them somehow to 12 or whatever, you can take an 11 cost forward instead. And yeah, so this one's a lot more straightforward than it does have a restriction, obviously, with a power weaker than his. Just at face value, you can take any 6k or less. There isn't many I can think of off the top of my head, but it is just a free mind control or a takeover. You take control of the forward, as long as it's weaker than Shuyu. So it's a really great card. Again, at the most, you're gonna have Walker and you're gonna have Refia for the most part, more than likely. So you will be at 9. You will be able to take 8k forwards, which is really the norm. It's just the standard, I guess, for most forwards. Let's say you take a Genesis or like a Lock or something, and it's gonna be great. Or even a Setzer, you take one of their defense. I don't know, man. Like doing this in a situation where your opponent has just enough forwards, you can take it, and assuming you can attack with it right away, as long as it's been on the field, I guess, because I don't know all the rules. I keep mentioning that, but you attack with their own forward, and it's just gonna throw them off, and it really sucks to get your cards taken from you at a time like that. And Shuyu's gonna do that for Water, which I like a lot. It also is going to help your count. Let's say you're playing a mirror match. If you take a water character, water forward, that's going to help your Cagnazzo stuff. So there's a lot of ways to think about it there. I wonder if you can take it and then scholar it back to your hand, because it is yours. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway, Shuyun's a great card. I love it. Let's move on. And we do have the other water legendary as well. So when Minwu, it's a new Minwu. When Minwu enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add one summon among them to your hand and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck in any order, which is good. When Minwu attacks, you may cast one summon of 4 cost or less from your hand without paying cost. So this is a lot stronger than This is really strong, actually. So let's say if you go back to the way I was playing Water before with the Belias or the Cyclops, or even the Hecaton Shear. There's a lot of ways to go around this. Let's say you had Cecil or something like that, and you're buffing him, and then Garnet's out, and when you cast, because it does say cast, so when you cast a summon, Garnet will activate. You're already buffing 2k, reducing 3k with the Cyclops, for example. I guess I would have to go over all the four less summons to find out what's the best value for this card. But it's the fact that it's just free. It's like you don't have to waste extra CP. And when I was going back to CP over time in a match is very important. And water dusts, giving this to water is really great. That way they have more stuff to use up for like special effects and stuff like that. I'm very excited for all these water cards. I feel like there's going to be a lot of summoning decks. We saw the Earth Ahito or whatever, and then Minwoo now. And there's going to be like more summon exclusive decks. So I feel like Garnets are going to be important. So keep your Garnets if you have some. Pick some up if you don't before they go up in value. And that's going to be it. That's going to wrap us up for all the spoilers at the moment. And I just want to thank all you guys for sticking around. I know this one's a little long. I'm sorry we waited so long for so many cards. But for those who stuck around, I do have a special message. If you don't follow me on Twitter yet, please check it out. I have a spoiler of my own to share with you guys tomorrow. So I will post spoilers for the next few days coming up to my exclusive Final Fantasy Opus 6 spoiler. And I want to thank you guys for who stuck around for the entire video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Let me know which one of these is your favorite card. Let me know which color you're planning on playing, if you're going to switch colors or anything like that. I'm sticking to water. I'm going to be playing water at Gen Con. I have to get all these Minwoo and Shuyu and Emmerich and Yunas and whatever other cards come out between now and then. But again, follow me on Twitter, guys. I'm going to be more active there. I think it's going to be important. I feel like there's a lot of Final Fantasy TCG stuff on Twitter, so I'm going to be more active on there. Again, spoiler, reveal. Well, not the reveal, but I guess spoiler to a spoiler. But yeah, stay tuned, and I will catch you guys later.